The RV market is finally starting to correct itself. If you're looking to trade, now is the time to do it. I'm going to be talking about this and a few other topics in this month's RV industry update. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm really excited. There's a lot going on in the RV industry these days, and we actually just got back from Elkhart, Indiana, so we're fresh with information, and I'm excited to share with you. We're going to be talking again about just the market as a whole, why trading in is so important right now. Starlink, Alliance has a couple new floor plans. There's a new manufacturer coming out. And, just a couple of topics around that. If you're new here, we do helpful RV-related informational videos every Wednesday. And then on Sundays, we do travel vlogs. And this past Sunday, we actually had our vlog going to Universal Studios. We hit both parks in one day. It was an awesome day. So after this video, make sure to go check that out. Okay, so the first topic I wanted to talk about is Starlink. So this is actually something that's really cool because Jen and I have always kind of struggled with what's gonna be the best internet source. Truth be told, what we use, and you guys see, you know that we upload a lot of video between our channel and Matt's RV Reviews, and we've just been using the hotspot on our phone, which I can't believe we've gotten away with it for this long, but we have. And the funny thing is it's not about us trying to be cheap or save money, it's just because we don't know what to invest the money into. Well, Starlink just announced that they are doing a Starlink for RVers. This is really cool because Starlink is really backed up. When I was reading into it, I think they said it wouldn't be till next year that you would actually get your system. So what they're doing is they're bumping it up for RVers so that you can get it instantly. The only downside to it being specifically for RVers is they did say they will deprioritize the network a little bit. And so during high use areas or congested areas and during peak hours, it might be throttled a little bit. And the other thing is that it's also $25 more a month for RVers. But overall, if it works, it's definitely worth the $25 a month. And overall, people have been very, very, very happy with Starlink. Anybody that I've talked to, we actually just got back from the Alliance rally and we were hanging out with our friends, Venturesome Couple, who are also in Alliance, and they have Starlink, and they just talk about how great it is. So there are some other carriers, like I know T-Mobile announced that they're offering something with RVs, and I haven't brushed up on it, but we are looking at getting Starlink. So we're gonna give you guys a real review and we'll let you know what we think of it. All right, up next is, I'm always excited for new RV manufacturers, and there is a new company that just announced they're gonna be hitting the RV industry called Brinkley RV. So Brinkley RV is currently composed of 4 individuals who are industry natives, I guess you could call them. A couple of them are from Grand Design. I believe it was Red Rock Industries, which is a supplier, Horizon Transport or Indiana Transport, one of the two. They're coming together, putting their heads together, and they're gonna be, currently their plan is to be a towable manufacturer. And it is really exciting to see new RV manufacturers break into the market, just because competition truthfully is good in the market, and it's the competition that drives, if everybody's here and the new manufacturer comes in and sets a benchmark, now everybody has to compete, at least come up to them, but really raise the bar, and it just continues to ultimately make a better product. I'm excited to see what they do that's different, because they're gonna have to do something to kind of set themselves apart. There's enough manufacturers in the industry to fill just kind of the basic voids, I guess you could call it. When Alliance came out, it was, they were really driven for customer feedback and customer support, which a lot of you hadn't seen at all in the RV industry. So it'll be interesting to see what their edge on the market is and what they want to change and do different. And also along those same lines is that truthfully, not all of these companies succeed. And when COVID hit, the newest manufacturer at the time was Alliance, and we are good friends with the Alliance people, and I go back and tell them all the time now how lucky they got that right when they broke into the market, that really the industry boomed a lot shortly thereafter, and really gave them a jump start to their business. I think that that's put a lot of money in people's pockets in the RV industry. So there have been a couple new manufacturers. And with that being said, at this time, sales are kind of dipping back down, which we'll get into next. But the only concern that leads me to is with all these new manufacturers is you know, who's gonna make it, who's gonna last, and, you know, I mean, truthfully, those that don't are gonna kind of come out now. You know, they could have started at the beginning of the pandemic and they would be successful. Truthfully, it almost didn't matter what they made. They didn't have to come out with a crazy good product or crazy good service or anything. You know, there was just enough sales to go around that everybody was staying in. Now that the market is lightening up a little bit, there's gonna be that competition. And truthfully, you know, like the stronger are gonna survive. You know, the manufacturers who are building the next product, who are raising that bar, they're gonna be the ones that survive. And some of the other ones who are just coming in, and maybe they even do have a good product, but their business plan and setup isn't right. Some of those, I do see those will start to come through now. And you know, unfortunately, I do think that we will see some RV manufacturers fail in the coming years. All right, the next topic is gonna be probably the biggest that I would see for this industry update, or this month's industry update. And that's just gonna be kind of coming into the overall market and what's happening right now. Again, we just got back from Elkhart, Indiana. We had a couple things going on there, including the Alliance Rally. We kind of got a lot of good inside information, a lot of insight into what's going on in the industry. The one piece of advice, and nobody can predict the future, right? So you have to make the best financial decision for you. But from what I'm seeing in the market is that truthfully, if you are kind of considering buying a new RV, but you have a trade, if you're kind of on the fence, truthfully, I think now is gonna be the time that you need to jump on it. You know, in all aspects, the market has just been going up and up and up like crazy, right? We all know that. The thing is that it's both been new and used RVs. Now that the market is settling, the first thing that's gonna settle are those used RVs. So used has just been way overinflated, which has helped a lot of people, truthfully. You know, you gotta take the good with the bad. Yeah, it sucks that new RVs are higher, but get your trade value as high as you can as well, which, you know, who wouldn't wanna take advantage of that? But again, the first thing that's gonna curve are those used RVs. And I think that we're gonna start seeing NADA values coming in lower, trade values coming in lower. There's a little bit more scare from the dealerships, so they're not gonna be quite as aggressive. And I think that's only gonna get worse with time. I really think the value of used RVs is gonna drop. So right now, while both are high, you wanna make sure to sell or trade in your RV before the new keeps going up, which I do think that'll curve a little bit, but I think the used is gonna drop even quicker. So then you're gonna be fighting both, all this inflation and everything, while also the value of your used one dropping off just because manufacturing is catching up, the demand is slowing. You know, there's just a lot of components at play. But again, the big thing is that right now, truthfully, I think we're seeing the best trade values that we'll see in a really long time. And I think that's gonna go really quick. Honestly, Jen and I are kind of in that situation. We don't have a trade, but our whole goal was to get our old fifth wheel sold shortly after getting our new one. There's some work that we have to do to at first, and truthfully, life's gotten in the way. We've had a lot going on. We haven't been able to get that work done. And if we don't get that work done soon, I know that we're probably gonna take a $5, $10, maybe even $15,000 hit soon. So we know it, it's priority for us. Luckily, we're not trying to buy something new right now, but we do want to take advantage of the market the way it is right now and try to sell as soon as possible so that we can get the most value for our fifth wheel. If you are looking to buy and you're not in a huge rush, but you don't have a trade, truthfully, you know, you can hang tight a little bit more. I always say, you know, don't miss this whole summer of camping just to save $1,000 or a couple thousand, because, you know, truthfully, you're spending the money to enjoy it. Don't split those hairs, but at the same time, don't rush into it. Where if you need to sell your old one to get into the new one, that, you know, there's a little bit more pressure for you to do that now. And I shouldn't say pressure, but just financially, it might make more sense for you to do that. And again, I can't emphasize enough that I really do believe to not do anything, even if you do have a trade. Don't do anything until you are ready. But if you're kind of on the fence and you just needed that little kicker, you know, use this as that kicker. And along those same lines, you know, again, we are seeing that especially Class C plants have been shut down. That's more to supply issues. They're starting to pick back up a little bit, but the overall industry, from the parts manufacturers to the actual RV manufacturers, and even on the dealer lots, we're seeing things slowing down a little bit. So you know, a lot of manufacturers are now doing 4-day work weeks where they were doing like 6-day work weeks, given all the overtime that they could. So they've definitely cut back a little bit just because that inventory is finally arriving. So that's why I say, I do think that we are finally reaching that curve. I think that the market is definitely correcting now. And I think it's gonna be kind of throughout this summer. I think it hit at the beginning of the summer, and I think it'll hit again at the end of summer. There are people who are kind of, I think, gonna finish out with the RV lifestyle at the end of this year. They're gonna get their money out of it for this last summer and take some trips, but between, you know, life just getting back to normal, they don't need to travel in an RV as much, gas prices are increasing and everything. I think there will be a good number of people at the end of this year who say, you know, hey, let's go ahead and sell the RV, and, you know, next year we'll be back to international travel or traveling in a plane or a boat, whatever the next adventure is for them. So I think that this summer will be kind of like that last hoorah for them, and then at the end of the summer we will see another influx of used. So I think that's, you know, when it's really gonna, you know, complete that curve and bring the market back down, especially again in the used market, because all those used RVs will be there. Now overall, I don't think that there's gonna be like a big crash like everybody was expecting, and I've said that before, and again, I could be wrong. That's why all this information, you know, you need to take it and absorb it, and just make the best financial decision you can for yourself. This is just my insight, you know, seeing the market from a different view. I do think that overall, there's not gonna be a huge crash, because I think that all that COVID did was brought a lot of new RVers into the market. Truthfully, when we were in sales at the beginning of COVID, there wasn't like a lot of people, there were some, but there weren't a lot who just went out and said that they hated it. And a lot of those people have already gotten rid of their used RV. It's just gonna be those people who would just kind of move on to something different now. But I think there's gonna be a bigger influx than people think of RVers who got into it because of COVID and stay into it because they love the lifestyle. So I did a little bit of research, and the most recent past history, if that makes sense, that I could get was in 2017. So in 2017, there were 10 million people who owned an RV. So in 2022 now, there's 11.2. So that's 1.2 million new RVers, and I think the majority of them, you could say, came in during the COVID pandemic. Of those 1.2 million, I kind of calculated if 80% of them decided, which I think is really high, even if 80% of them decided, hey, RV lifestyle is not for us, I think that, you know, it wouldn't be as big of a drop as people think. Yeah, again, there's gonna be a huge influx. Short term, it's gonna bring the market down, but that's still almost 250,000 people who are new to the market that are sticking with the market. So that's another 250,000 people who bought RVs, and on average, people trade in every 3 to 5 years, and typically it's a little bit earlier with your first RV because you kind of use it for a year or two, and then you trade into what'll work better. But that means every 3 to 5 years, there's people who stick with it. Now there's an additional 200 and almost 50,000 that are gonna be trading in every 3 to 5 years, and that's just building the RV market stronger. And again, that's if only 80% of those people stayed, which I think there will be a lot more. And the last kind of like subtopic under just the overall RV market is just where new prices are. This actually surprises me a little bit, but I was doing a little bit of research to try to answer that question for you guys, and the crazy thing is that the price of new RVs are still going up daily. It's definitely slowing. You know, before there were like huge increases, and it felt like every time I turned around, there was literally another price increase. And it was really frustrating. That has slowed, but the price increases truthfully are still there. And I was actually looking at the unit that Jen and I bought, and just our MSRP, if we bought the same exact unit, spec'd out the same exact way, I think it was like $17,000 more. And that's an Alliance, and truthfully, Alliance has really tried hard to keep their price increases to a minimum, which is hard to do. You know, I'm sure it ate into their profit some, but they didn't want these big price increases and to price people out. They truthfully just wanted to get people in the market. So they ate a little bit of it, and they, you know, negotiated and everything as much as they could to keep the prices down. other RV manufacturers are probably gonna be more than that $17,000 jump, especially when you get into motorhomes and stuff. That's why I say if you have a trade, the price of a new one's still going up. Unfortunately, the used is gonna start coming down, and that's why it's so important right now to jump on that if you're ready and if that fits your situation. The big reason that I kind of see these price increases is just like the overall economy. I mean, everybody knows that we're just in, you know, an incredible amount of inflation right now, unfortunately. Just the transport to get them from, you know, the parts manufacturers to the RV manufacturer, you know, that gas is over doubled for them. So all of that, you know, obviously gets added into the final product. You know, labor has gone up, the cost of the actual supplies themselves have gone up. It's just the market right now. You know, I think that we won't see that correct until pretty much everything else in the economy corrects, like the gas and the supply chain and all that. Truthfully, I don't know when that'll happen. Your guess is probably as good as mine, but that's what's causing the price increases to continue on the new RVs. Now, the flip side to that is that with there being less of a demand, the dealer discounts are getting a little bit better. But still, if you're going from a 20% discount before to now 25% on a $100,000 motorhome or fifth wheel, that's only $5,000. But then again, you know, like on mine, I think the MSRP was like 83 originally, and now it's pushing 100. You know, so it's a $17,000 increase with a $5,000 discount. So it's still, unfortunately, not in the favor of the buyer at all. Okay, next I want to talk about our good friends over at Alliance. So we just got back at from the Alliance rally, and truthfully, we might be a little bit biased just because we love the folks at Alliance so much. They're such good people, but we did want to share with you what they are bringing new to the market, and they did say we could share this now, even though it was like a sneak peek at the rally. Next Wednesday's video will actually be video of all this. And they've kind of redesigned their paradigm a little bit, which I'm really excited for because it's been like 2 years now or 3 years. And, you know, it's just like a light little refresh. But even more cool, I would say, is that they are launching their first travel trailer. And we got to see the prototype at the Alliance rally. It is a Valor travel trailer, so it's a toy hauler travel trailer. Alliance just does so much right with their customer service and some of the key features like the Asdale sides and the running gear. And by no means, you know, am I trying to say they're perfect. Obviously, they've had to work through kinks just like any other manufacturer. But what we really love about them is just that they stand behind their product. And if you it doesn't matter if you get the first one and it has tons of issues, they will stand behind you and they'll do whatever it takes to get that fixed for you and get everything right. You know, literally all you have to do is communicate with them and talk with them about it. There's really only like a couple manufacturers who do really nice travel trailer toy haulers, and then there's some that are cheaper, more affordable options, which is totally cool too. But it's just always cool to see like the nicer, higher end stuff. So I really liked the layout that they had in there. I think it's gonna do great. But what I personally am probably a little more excited about is they launched what they're calling the Avenue but All Access series. So I knew that this was coming down the line just from talking to them. I didn't realize it was gonna be at the rally, but the All Access series is what you would compare to like a half-ton towable or a 150 series. Well, the idea behind a half-ton towable or a 150 series is to be half-ton towable. And truthfully, I've always said that I hate that because if you look at a half-ton truck and you look at the trailer, there are very, very, very few half-ton trucks that can tow that fifth wheel. Just because you have to have a super spec'd out one, and you have to make sure, even if it is really spec'd out, that it's spec'd out right to tow that fifth wheel, because each fifth wheel layout's a little bit different. Honestly, I think that it's probably caused a lot of people to buy a fifth wheel that they can't tow. Where with the All Access series, they're saying, hey, we really want to shy away from saying, yeah, tow this with your half-ton truck, and do it more like, hey, this is lighter, this is easier to get into, easier to maneuver. Maybe you can tow with a half-ton truck, you know before you tow, be careful. But, with a 3/4 ton truck, you should definitely be fine. But it's more about just being all access into state parks, smaller RV parks, getting into smaller sites, just being easier to maneuver. And I really, really love that. And truthfully, when I went on the inside, you couldn't really even tell that it was in that half-ton towable category or the all-access category because it was so roomy. I mean, truthfully, you could because it's shorter, but it was, for that category, it was so much more roomy. Mainly because they're still using a 101-inch wide body. Just the colors in there, it's like our unit. It's just so bright, open, and airy. It's so comfortable, especially when you compare it to the competition. I'm so excited for them. I think they're going to blow it out of the water. All right, guys, well, that wraps up this month's RV industry update. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and got some good information. You know, the feedback on these has been really good, so I try to really plan for it all month and bring good information that I think will bring a lot of insight to you guys. A lot of the information where I'm kind of giving a prediction of the future is just my best educated guess based on what I know in the industry. And again, just a little disclaimer, make sure to always do, you know, what's best for you guys financially. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. We do videos like this every Wednesday and we do a vlog style every Sunday. Also, leave down in the comments below, let us know what you thought about today's topics, and also leave a comment if you have any specific questions or concerns you want me to address next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.